Welcome. In this video, I am going to talk about what you can do to prepare for the first test. On the first test, Physics 131, I am going to have 3 problems, multiple parts. There'll be a Chapter 2 problem, kinematics, Chapter 2 kinematics, either up and down or back and forth motion. And I'd like you to be prepared for a problem that has 2 parts to it. Think about like the reaction time problems. And so in this problem, you're going to have to recognize that, oh, the time that it takes for the person to step on the brakes is one period of time. The time that it takes them to stop is another period of time, and you need to keep things straight. So that's one caution to look out for. Be aware that in this time there is no acceleration or deceleration because the car continues at its pretty much constant velocity. I mean, in real life it may slow down fractionally but not noticeably. So there would be a constant velocity here, and then when the deceleration starts, there would be a constant deceleration. Or if it's somebody that's speeding up, it would be a constant acceleration. So anyway, that would be the type of problem that I would give you. There were also Chapter 2 problems where some person went at V1 during this distance or this amount of time, and then they sped up or slowed down at a different period of time. This is another example of a 2-part Chapter 2 kinematics type of a problem where you need to recognize that, first of all, there is constant velocity here. And then during this instant, we're not really taking the acceleration or deceleration into account. And then there's a second velocity here, and you'll need to break it out like that. So anyway, that's an example. Those are for instance type things of a Chapter 2 kinematics problem. On that first test, there is also going to be a vector math problem. And it should be very, very similar to the type of homework problems that I gave you. I will give you vectors and the angle that they are drawn at, and you're going to need to be able to break it into its x and y parts, and then go ahead and do the necessary vector addition, vector A, vector B, vector C. And I will always give you at least one vector where this is the angle that I give you rather than the angle with respect to the x-axis. So you're going to need to absolutely know that, oh, the cosine of the angle in this particular case would give you the y component rather than the x component. And so you can either go find this angle right here and then say x is the cosine of the theta multiplied by the magnitude of the vector, and then the y is the sine of the angle. But that's only the case when it's with respect to the x-axis. So anyway, practice your vector math. I may have you like 2a minus 3b or something like that and add these things together. So on the vector math problem, I am going to have you draw a picture of adding the vectors. And so that's where you do the tip to tail, a, or whatever it happens to be. You're going to need to draw a picture representing the vector math. And then I will have you break the things into the x and y components and then find the vector sum. And then once you get the vector sum of the vector in the x, vector in the y, you're going to need to find the magnitude of the vector. And so that's where the magnitude is the square root of vx squared plus vy squared. And then you're going to need to find the angle that the vector is pointed at. So the angle is the inverse tangent vy over vx. And then you're also going to need to recognize what quadrant it's in. If you find the angle and it is indeed in the first quadrant, then you're not going to need to give any qualifiers. If it's in one of the other quadrants, you'll need to specify, oh, my angle is below the positive x-axis, below the negative x-axis or wherever it happens to be. Or you can draw me a picture showing what angle it is you're talking about, or you can give the total angle out of the 360 degrees. So if your angle is down here in this quadrant, you'd take that 360 minus this angle, and then you could just give that as the value. So that is what your vector math problems are going to be looking like. The third problem that I'm going to give you is going to be a projectile motion problem. So projectile motion, as we've discussed, is what happens after whatever is launched through the air leaves the cannon, leaves somebody's hand, when the object is flying through the air only under the influence of gravity. And so on those types of problems, it will be one problem, right? But I'm going to have multiple types of parts. How long does it take before it lands? Find the x and y components of the initial velocity. Find the x and y components of the final velocity. The acceleration is the acceleration due to gravity. So that's one nice friendly thing on those projectile motion problems. Anyway, how far does it travel in the x? How far does it travel in the y? Are all different things that it can be. So that's it. Test 1, 3 problems. A Chapter 2 kinematics problem, a Chapter 3 vector math problem, and a Chapter 3 projectile motion problem. Each one of those problems will have more than one part. So I would encourage you to go back over the homework and practice redoing those problems. Also look at the example problems because those are nice and worked out for you. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me.